Welcome to the inaugural moment with May. This is a daily podcast hosted by me, Megan. If anything from today's moment resonates with you, please slide in my DMs or tag me in your commentary. You can find me on your social media platform of choice at Maed in America. That's Maed in America. So, for our first moment together, I figured I'd share why I'm launching this podcast. At the top of this year, this is 2022 if you're listening in the future, I started a podcast called Made with Intention with my homie Candace. Hey Candace. And it was an entire vibe. We had so much fun. It's something that we launched just because we needed some fun in our lives and it was cold. It was January. We wanted to spice things up. And that lovely podcast turned into a retreat that we held that ended last week actually in Marrakech, Morocco. And I'm still here now. If you're watching on YouTube, I am sitting on the floor of my cute little Airbnb because there absolutely is not a desk. That would be too easy, but we don't let that stop the grind, right? And yeah, I had never done podcasts before. I love speaking, I love sharing, but that was a whole new platform for me and I loved it. Candace did such a great job leading me through that process. And I figured, you know what? Let me do one of my own. Another reason why I'm doing this, I love podcasts, but I don't know about you, but I feel like lately all of my favorite podcasts are taking forever. They're taking weeks on weeks to release a new episode and I get sick of waiting. And so I'm like, you know what? Let me launch a daily podcast, one to challenge myself to be consistent and to push out quality content, but also for all the other podcast lovers who are sitting around waiting for new episodes. Like, it frustrates me so much because I will be so engaged in a podcast and then you have to wait. So yeah, so that's number 2. Number 3, I very much so want these episodes or moments rather to be less than 10 minutes. I want them to be bite-sized nuggets of what the fuck is going on in my brain in hopes that it can help you figure out what's going on in yours. And I know, lives are busy, times are crazy, as they always have been and always will be. And I wanted to offer these as, just a quick little moment that you can take for yourself throughout your days while we're running around hustling and creating our dream lives for our future selves. I just wanted to offer this moment to, just ground ourselves a little bit and hopefully do that together. And then finally, the biggest reason why I'm doing this is I have felt all this year that I am very much so being called to step onto a bigger stage. And lately, that's become wildly apparent. I won't get into the details, but I've had signs about it. I know some people can think this is crazy, but I've come across TikToks about it. And yes, I know the algorithm knows me, but I'm telling you, there's something here. I've had major life events happen this summer or just this year, honestly, that we'll get into during a later moment. I've had to get firmer with my boundaries as of late. I've had to close out some relationships. And I'm just ready, honestly, also just to make a bigger impact. And in many ways, I started Life Made Easy. If you don't know, I'm the founder of a company called Life Made Easy. That's Made, Maed. And I created it to help humans make their lives easier. Next month we turn 2 years old, actually in like 2 weeks. Life Made Easy turns 2. And the impact has been wild, whether it's someone sending me a screenshot of my newsletter and telling me how it helped them, show up for themselves, or my courses, or just my random, tips for success, or a healthy recipe. Someone just messaged me telling me they're making a recipe from one of my cookbooks. And I've seen the impact. And I know that by stepping onto a bigger stage, I can reach more people and therefore help more people. But to be honest with you, and especially if you know me, this may sound crazy, but I've always had a very strong fear of success. And that fear has become it's been illuminated for me this year. And as with anything, and as I coach other people or tell, anyone I love, you got to step into that fear. That's the only way I want to live is by being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And so this is, while having this podcast and starting this podcast isn't necessarily a challenge for me, it is not worrisome. What's the word? I guess I'm fearful because I know that you know, inevitably I'll reach more people. And that means that I have more eyes on me. And yes, that means that there are more people that I can help, more people that I can positively impact, who then will help other people. And like, isn't that the whole point of us being here? But it's still pretty scary, to be honest with you. I very much so, I love living life in the cut. Which again, if you know me or if you follow my brand or my newsletters, it sounds crazy because I share so much of my life, but at the same time I share like 20%, you know, I just have a lot of shit. So even that 20% may seem like a lot, there's so much more. So yeah. And then another reason for being here and stepping onto this stage is I love taking people along for my journey, through my journey. It's definitely one of my stronger suits, and also I feel a big reason why I've been able to grow my brand so quickly is because a lot of people will tell you about their hardships or about their journeys after the fact, and I take my community along for the ride with me. I don't know, sometimes, you know, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I'll tell you about it. You know, I'll tell you what I think is going on, and then when I actually do figure out what's going on, if I ever do, I'll let you know. And it's something it's probably one of my favorite things about my personal brand is that I am very, very vulnerable and very open. And I love how I, for the most part, as best I can, I will tell people what's going on in real life, like what's going on right now in real time, rather than telling you about it later. And lastly, because I love listening to myself speak, I know that future me will probably revisit a lot of these moments. And so yeah, it's like a live journal. I get to help others while helping myself, essentially. And so welcome to Moments with May. I'm so excited to do this. Again, I'm committing. This is a daily podcast for the next year at least. Not at least, that sounds, and for law of attraction vibes, that's not very affirming. I am committing to dropping a daily Moment with May every day for the next year, and we'll leave it at that. Because music is so much of my life, music is everything to me. Each episode is going to be named after a song that I love. Unfortunately, because of dumbass copyright laws, I can't include the song in the episode, but just so you know, it will always be linked in the show notes. And yeah, thank you so much for stopping by for a moment with me, and I'll be back tomorrow. Ciao.